Welcome back to the channel, happy gamers, and welcome to my initial impressions and performance results for Starfield across 3 different platforms. So welcome. I encourage you first of all to check out Digital Foundry, who make expert, very detailed metrics and videos on performance of select games, and they have done so on this one. This is my general experience of the game across my Xbox Series X, my PC, which is an i9 10850K with a 3080 and 64 megabytes of RAM with an SSD, of course. And I also checked this game out on my Asus Ally with very mixed results. You will see video capture of all platforms throughout this initial impressions video. To start off with the Series X, in general, at this point in time, the Series X and from what I've heard, the Series S, basically the most stable and optimized platform out of all 3. In regards to this, I would agree pretty much 100%. Over 30 hours of gameplay and travel to many parts of the game, I have found performance generally stable and locked to 30 FPS. Whether it's traipsing across a barren moon, walking the lit streets of Neon, or mixing it in battle with the Crimson Fleet. I have occasionally, on very rare occasions, noted a frame stutter here and there, but this has happened perhaps less than a handful of times in the 30 plus hours of gameplay I have on this game. While I have seen and heard other people and reviewers state that this is not the case, I can say that at least from my point of view, the game is extremely well optimized, 30 frames per second, and Todd Howard definitely made the right decision in keeping this game at 30 FPS, because he was right. It would lose way too much of its grandeur at 60, but we can only hope that in the future there is some way to optimize this game to play at 60. Bethesda are known for all sorts and manner of options, and it would not surprise me to see something like this in a year or two's time. I generally am no fan of 30 FPS in console games, as this generation, in fact in 2023, I've essentially stopped playing and buying any third-party games for either my PlayStation or my Series X, because from my point of view, the ports have been well underdone. Either the quality mode is too jerky at 30 frames per second, or the game sacrifices too much infidelity at 60 FPS. Dead Space was one example of this. I ended up returning my Xbox and PlayStation versions of this game and playing this on PC. In fact, the only third-party game that has so far run to my satisfaction has surprisingly been Dead Island 2 on PlayStation, and that straight out of the box. Something no one was expecting after its pretty rough development process. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. I do understand the people who are not happy with 30 FPS and cannot play this game at 30 FPS. I get you, I've been there. However, in my opinion, Bethesda has optimized this game so well on Series X that 90% of the time, I actually think I'm playing at 45 frames per second. It is that much of a supreme achievement. Overall, an excellent performance, and something the extra year of delay probably helped. Now comes the PC. This is a rabbit hole you can dive into and never find your way back. For one reason or another, Bethesda, or perhaps Xbox, decided to make a sweetheart deal with AMD and only have FSR2 available for upscaling in this game, which from my point of view is absolute BS. At minimum, this game should have had DLSS included. I am pretty sure Bethesda would have had enough time to implement this, because they have literally followed through in fine detail in regards to every other part of this game. So Bethesda, please sort this out sooner rather than later. I mean, the display settings don't even have a brightness toggle. While dynamic res scaling and variable refresh shading is available to take some of the brunt, it is still not guaranteed you will have a good experience even on low settings with this game. Overall, a lot of optimization work still needs to be done. I have finally managed to find a sweet spot where in a quiet or open or indoor areas I'm getting between 60 to 100 FPS in light combat, usually above 60. There are times, however, where I see dips below 60 FPS. It doesn't ruin the experience, but it certainly is noticeable. So generally with 60 to 100 FPS, I have had most of my settings set to high or medium with FSR on. There also appears to be an issue with full screen mode and issues in changing your resolution. Overall, a relatively average effort, and one I think Bethesda was cognizant of, because I'm guessing Xbox wanted the spotlight to firmly shine on the Series X and S versions of this game, and reasons for that should be fairly obvious. Now we come to the Asus Ally. This one is very interesting. As you can see, the footage is running at 720p. The Ally has two settings, 720 and 1080. While at 720, I'm getting fairly consistent 30 FPS with FSR on and most settings set to low and some to medium. With the use of VRS and DRS, the game feels relatively smooth to control, even at 30 FPS. Anyway, after a couple of video recordings, its performance, I have since been unable to make any more. Something or some issue has occurred and is now preventing me from loading the game. Rather, it loads fine, but crashes at the game's save file loading screen. The two times I did load into the game, the performance was so bad, it turned into a slideshow and eventually crashed. I have tried a variety of options, settings, updates, nothing works. The game continuously tells me that my drivers are out of date, which they are not. So far, not too happy with the performance on the Asus Ally. I did see ETA Prime's review on YouTube in regards to the Ally, and his experience does not tally with mine. I have also incidentally heard the Steam Deck performance is not too great, but at least the game runs on that device without crashing currently. The story is grand, the world is even grander. While the general theme and premise of the game is nothing new, be whoever you want to be in a very vast open universe, meet multitudes of people and factions across countless worlds, while searching for a question mankind has been asking itself for quite some time. Are we alone? There is nothing revolutionary here. However, what is new is the level of depth to the stories and areas available for you to explore, visit, possibly even colonize on your way to the search for the answer of are we alone? Graphics and presentation. While the new iteration of the Creation Engine 2, which Bethesda used to build the world of this game, is certainly levels ahead of anything else they have done previously, including Fallout 76. The performance of this engine is also very dependent on the platform you play this game on. You would have heard my reactions and experiences from earlier in the review. While the engine itself doesn't do anything amazingly new in the graphical department, its general presentation, look, feel is quintessentially next level Bethesda. From first to third point of view, the piloting of your ship across the Starfield. I do think though that it may be time to think of something new and starkly transformative for Bethesda's next game, Elder Scrolls 6. While we are still probably years behind seeing initial in-game footage or videos of Elder Scrolls 6, I am hopeful that Bethesda creates a new engine for this game. Music, sound effects and voice acting. The music in this game ranges from grand to the sublime. If you are lucky enough to have bought the premium version of this game, you would have received the Starfield art book, which is approximately 15 gigabytes in size, to download. Let me give you one piece of advice. Download this art book and follow the bouncing ball. It is probably the most well fleshed out, in-depth and well presented digital art book I have ever seen in any game, ever. There are approximately 79 musical pieces or soundtrack, which I'm guessing one will hear throughout the game depending on location and setting. Sound effects are generally serviceable, from the roar of the ship's engines on blast off to the blasts of the laser rifle and death groans of the pirate you just ghosted. It's typical Fallout. Voice acting is suitably on par with a AAA experience, especially for the main actors and the companions. Lip syncing is on point, as well as you would expect, considering you'll be hearing and talking to a lot of people about a lot of things in this game. Overall music, sound effects and voice acting is top notch. Honestly, nothing less than one should expect from an Xbox-backed Bethesda AAA title. Overall, this game is an absolute work of love and passion created by a very experienced, professional and dedicated team who created this universe in some degree to an almost obsessive level of detail, while almost every other reviewer 25 hours in or 100 hours in has plenty more to see and discover. Add a very expansive and in-depth ship and base customization system and the mod community, to which Bethesda is very receptive to, and this truly is a work that you could play for years. It's definitely a cross between Fallout and Skyrim in space. Initial impressions of this game after 30 hours are extremely positive. It is the quintessential Bethesda RPG set in space. Note, this is not a sci-fi space flight sim, which many people thought it would be. If you want that, you can download Frontier or Allied Dangerous. However, if you want the old Fallout 3 Skyrim vibe, but in space, with a monumental amount of content, without even mentioning the main quest line, then you have yourself an absolute winner. Reviews that gave this game a 7 are, in my opinion, rather biased against either Xbox or Bethesda, or do not understand what a Bethesda RPG is. Perhaps it has been too long in between mainline games, and I am sure that Fallout 76, when it first released, did not give off a good impression. Otherwise, strap yourself in and prepare for one hell of a ride. A ride without the usual big Bethesda bugfest. One other small note. As an ex-soldier and vet, I have and deal with severe anxiety, and I have since I left the military. This is the first game where time literally disappears. 20 minutes turn to 4 hours. When I play, the world disappears and my anxiety goes away. No other game in the past 3 years, that is since I've left the military, has been able to do that, which is quite astounding considering the amount of games I've played since I've left, and gaming is my main hobby. Todd Howard and his team have created something truly amazing. Here's hoping he is game lead for Elder Scrolls 6. Again, thank you for watching and listening to this review. If you liked it, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.